I stopped calling people crazy. I call them mentally.
Oh, that's sweet. Jeez. That'll still have me fight you.
Well, hello.
Good morning.
Well,
Good morning, good morning.
How you doing?
we're here. We're here. We need
Not
some
as
help from
early.
the love counselor, man.
Not as early as last time, so that's my second thing.
So what does it mean when your man leaves you at home and y'all both have somewhere to go and he know y'all both supposed to be there and he leave you at home? Cause you didn't take you took too long getting dressed for him.
That is a off the wall question. First of all, I think that just means that he's a jerk. I don't know what else you would call that.
Thank you.
Let's get
So
started right
now that we got that out the way.
I mean, yeah. that's not cool.
Yeah, who would do that?
Yeah. That's somebody who needs to have the house vacant by the time he get back.
Oh.
Which one of these mics?
Oh. So for those that were not available to listen to you last time or to ask questions of you last time, could you just briefly tell us a little bit more about what you do and the Love Counselor page and all that good stuff and the services?
All right, I always got a story for everything. So I actually started off on social media as the Truth Seeker. That was my very first moniker online. And then people kept saying, "Oh, you speak the truth all the time. You should change your name to the Truth Speaker." So I did that. So it was Truth Speaker forever. That's probably when I met you, Tito. And then I started always talking about like relationships and like self-love and just like, basically like having boundaries and protecting your space. And so I changed it to the Love Counselor because that's what people always came to me for advice, for counsel, and it always had to do with like relationships or something that was lacking in themselves. That's how we got started.
All right.
When you're doing that type of thing, is it like a barber? Where like if you go to the barber shop, the barber's always got the nappiest hair in the joint. So the advice that you give, do you use that advice for yourself?
That is a great question, and that's a great analogy as well.
It really is.
I would say that I'm like those barbers, I'm also human. And so not always. I think naturally we are able to see other people's emotions. I mean, when we're not tied to them emotionally, their situations, we can see it more objectively and know, this is what's wrong, this is what you should probably do, whatever. But then it's harder to recognize that same exact situation when you're going through it because you're tied to it emotionally. So you can't only think with logic and be objective in those situations.
Okay.
One great example is I find myself looking at my Facebook memories a lot. And, it'll be from like 7, 8 years ago. And I'll be like, you already knew that. How did you go through that still, right?
Memories are revealing, boy.
Yeah, they tell on you.
They do.
So that's how I can answer your question. No, I didn't always take my advice.
Okay.
That's good. But you know what I'm thinking too, now that you say it that way, it still would be good, for therapists or for counselors even to be involved, because even if you have those objective views from friends, from family, a lot of times they're still not objective views, right?
Yeah.
There's still, like you're saying, some bias to their opinions, depending on the way they feel about the person or you know. So it is good to have a person who is fully independent of the situation have a step back and say, okay, listen, girl, listen, guy.
Yeah, I was just talking to my cousin about this because, I told her, I said, I don't even know, I asked if she had any experience like helping or supporting a friend or family member through domestic violence, and she told me, a lot of course, most of us have in some capacity. But I said, nobody really knew my situation because I didn't talk about it. Yeah. But I don't even know if I would have listened if they did. I don't know. I might have made excuses for it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I would have.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, you know what? And I tell you, way back, I was always told when you point that finger at somebody, right? When you try to say something, you got 3 fingers pointing back at you.
Yeah.
So you ever see that? You ever point at somebody?
That's the first time I heard that, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Lord.
That's why with me, I give them the knife hand. They ain't know it. Come back at me. No, I'm kidding.
Because the first thing they do is you gonna get defensive. That's the first thing. You're gonna be like, you don't know him, and this is not how he treats me all the time.
Right.
And he's a good person. He just had a bad day.
Yeah.
I mean, everything under the sun except for what it really is.
Right, and then when you think back, or someone's got to, have that out of the box, and say, well, what did you do?
Yeah. Oh my goodness, I got that question so many times.
Yeah.
What could you have done to prevent that? What could you have done, or what did you do that caused
That's
it?
when you saw them red flags.
And a lot of people, they just like, I didn't do nothing. Oh yeah, well, we got attitude right now. Right now, it's already started.
Yeah.
No, I didn't do it. No, right now you got to take I out of the equation.
A lot of times, people that are victims of domestic violence, I know this, which rang true for me. I was not able to accept accountability for anything that I did. It still a victim. Doesn't mean I wasn't a victim until people acknowledge that I was a victim.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right.
Like if you don't acknowledge I'm a victim, I didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
Because I have to show you or make you believe that's what it was first, and then I can finally say, okay, look at myself and say, okay, I probably should have took heed to that red flag, or listen to this person, or not went back,
Absolutely.
things like that. But you will not acknowledge that until somebody validates the fact that you have been victimized.
Yeah.
Right.
And then what I found not fascinating, but another revelation, going through my own personal experience with that, is that depending on where you grow up sometimes, or just being a black woman in general, and I hate to bring it down to races, but I'm just speaking from my experience.
Right.
When you grow up, you fighting in school, you doing this, you have to be tough. We end up making a lot of excuses too when you get into them tussles with dudes, right? Or when they put their hands on you because you feel like this ain't nothing new to me. You know what I mean? We can box all day long if you want to. You really want to scrap and get down, but so you again, you're making up those excuses. But then sometimes it's even a cultural thing because it's what you kind of are used to doing. So again, how do you deal with those type of things where you're used to a certain environment or atmosphere where there is always a lot of violence around you, so it may somewhat seem even more normal?
It's all about awareness, because a lot of abusive behavior is normalized, right? So if you were brought up in a family where you couldn't express yourself, right, that's emotionally abusive, but you're so used to it that you just internalize everything and then it comes out later. So it's all about an awareness, just an awareness of why were you fighting at a young age? Why do you think it's okay to equally fight males, when they're physically stronger than us? That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So if you don't stop to actually think about it, you will just continue on that pattern because that's what you have learned to do to cope, for survival.
And so for, let's say the gentleman out there who may not be having physical abuse issues, but I do see the physical abuse problems as well with men, but the verbal abuse. And that goes all around the board, again, for men and women, but particularly for men. How would they be able to navigate those things or know, okay, this is not normal, the way they're speaking to me is not okay.
We're about to get real deep today because I hardly ever hear males from a heterosexual, relationship, even claim to be a victim of domestic violence or abuse.
And we know why.
You know what they say? She crazy.
Yeah.
Just
That's it.
the way she is.
She just crazy. And she might be displaying behavior that can seem crazy, but she really broken.
Yeah.
Okay? And if she's broken, ain't no way she can help you in any capacity. Especially when she's doing that. So I first would like to say that it is okay for a man to just acknowledge that they have been a victim of abuse, any kind of abuse, whether it's verbal, emotional, mental, financial. Because I know a lot of men get financially abused. We know that happens.
That's true.
Because you can't heal what you don't first diagnose. You can't treat it. Right. And so they have the same wound as a woman who may have been a victim of domestic violence, but they don't go on to heal it because they never even say it out loud. Right. This is what happened to me. Right. And so I need them to just put it into perspective that no, it's not just that he's crazy or she's crazy. She's abusive, she's manipulative, she's nasty, and she didn't treat me the way I needed to be treated.
Mm-hmm. Have you gentlemen ever experienced financial or don't.
That face.
I ain't talking about the time that you got her some chicken nuggets and she gonna give it up.
She ain't text back right.
But have you all ever experienced, true, or what you thought was probably looking back, verbal, physical, financial abuse that just was really toxic to your brain, to your heart?
I think it's something most men have.
Mm-hmm.
It just men don't own up to a lot of things that women may own up to because it's a man thing. It's a man thing. A lot of times it's like, get over it. It's all good.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we may need to seek help or some type of counseling for that. But one thing, counseling is a dirty word for most men.
Yeah.
Where a woman may say, well, we need to get some counseling or something like that. A man be like, hey, shit, I don't need no counseling. Ain't nothing.
And tell you to go. You go ahead and go.
Guys are like, my counseling, man, I just go to the barbershop.
Yeah, right.
Talk with the
Right.
fellas.
Right.
I mean, and that is a form of, because you gotta say, you just gotta process things sometimes.
Is it okay to have other forms of, I guess, therapy for yourself? Because when is it a cop out versus when is it really a tool that works for that person?
That's a better question, because I do agree with other forms of therapy. It doesn't have to always be professional, but you still should have discernment, right? Because if you go to a whole bunch of people that's going to validate you, that's not really considered getting any type of counsel. That's just being validated, whether you're right or wrong.
Right.
So, and then you're talking to somebody who does contemporary style of counseling or life coaching, where I do it over FaceTime or through text. Whatever is comfortable for that person, that's what I'm there for. So it's different than the traditional sense of, come sit on my couch and because everybody's different. And to me, it's a cop out when they say, I don't think that person can help me, or I don't need any help, because you don't even know if you need any help sometimes till you go to the doctor and get checked out.
Right.
That's how you find out something wrong.
Right.
So you have to at least do that consultation or just to even see. And another thing is, based off of what you just said, most of my clients are male.
Interesting.
I would
That's really
say
good to hear, though.
70% of my clients are black males.
That's awesome. I'm sad that people are going through things,
but I
I'm
have
really
to say
happy
that because
to
you would
hear
never
that.
know.
I'm really happy to hear that.
I mean, it's like, if you were a male, do you think most of your clients would be males?
I don't.
You see how that works?
Yeah,
well,
I do.
I feel comfortable with the opposite sex. With a lot of my medical things for some reason. I don't know why.
But for the purpose of this conversation, I think that it has to do with toxic masculinity. Like you said, counseling is a dirty word for most males. Even expressing, just expressing your feelings, period, right? At the most basic fundamental core of I'm feeling sad or angry.
Right.
It's just difficult.
Can I just butt in just real quick? And I don't think it's what you think, that the man's going to go talk to the woman, right? Because she's a woman. I think, from my experience as well, is that the man don't want to cry in front of another man. Or a man going to tell you that well, my wife hit me, this, that, and the other, and then the other guy going to go, man, you a pussy, man, hit her ass back.
Toxic masculinity.
Whatever, right?
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying.
But now you go where you feel comfortable, and the man feel comfortable crying in front of a woman, and maybe harsh at first, but then it's going to break down. But another man crying with another man, get on that shoulder and hug. No, you got to be real close in order to do that. On the shoulder. That's how you do.
You got it already. Get your hands off me. I'm a man.
But that's because
you know what?
He touched me.
Look. He is so old school, man. Look.
He is not budget.
We can hold hands. You know what I mean? We can hold hands.
You're like, no, it don't
He's on puke.
Let me give you a hug.
Men, we have got to get back to hugging each other. Y'all can hug and love each other, man. It's okay.
So even though I know y'all joking, that's a real depiction of how it is. Yeah, it is. And it ends up turning into toxic masculinity, where it's like but it's so deep though. So nobody taught me this growing up. Father might not even been there half the time, and if he was, it's like, stop crying, toughen up,
Right.
You a man, be a man, man up. And so that's what if you constantly hearing those messages repeated and reinforced throughout life, and then society goes on to reinforce it, at what point will you even become comfortable? Because 9 times out of 10, that male that's in that professional mental health role, he's going to make you feel comfortable, but you have to get there first.
Yeah, you gotta get there.
Right.
Exactly.
And you won't even know until you go.
You gotta take self out of the equation,
Right.
and you to go in there and have that breakthrough. And if you don't, you're not gonna have a breakthrough.
Right.
So
and that's what you need to heal.
Yeah.
So for anyone who who's listening and they may want to get in contact with you for whatever services you do provide, is there, without giving out too much, is there, what are the first steps for, you kind of learning that person or seeing what their actual needs are? Because a lot of times we say we need this, and you find out, okay, no, this is what you really need to do, or you know what I mean? So how do you, those first steps to kind of get that person involved?
Okay, so just like with any other service, human service, excuse me, you will go to my website, which is thelovecounselor.org, and then you will submit an inquiry. So that's just saying that, I pretty much need some help, and we're going to do a consultation. We do a 15-minute consultation, and then there's an intake form where you answer the questions, and that gives me a good idea of whether you need my services or if I can refer you to somebody else.
Okay.
Because not everybody will be. My specialty is self-love, is healing from a certain type of trauma, and usually in relationships. So it's not always a romantic relationship. It could be a familial relationship. Okay.
Yep.
And because that's where most of our traumas come from anyway.
Yep.
And so if it's something outside of that, then I would just refer them elsewhere.
Okay.
And if anybody's got any questions out there, or you've been involved in domestic violence, if you actually caused the domestic violence, or you just want to share a story, please give us a call here at the show, 202-299-6673. Let us hear what you have to say.
What's that number again?
202. God damn it. 202-299-6673.
202-299-6673.
You got it, man. I feel like I've been abused already. No, I'm kidding. But we'll be right back every top of the hour. We're going to take you into a song, and we'll come right on back. But give us a call.
Is this an empowerment song for those who
202-299-6673.
If it ain't I Will Survive, if it ain't I Will Survive, we're going to fight. It better not be too.
We're gonna play some Ike and Tina.